Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to Utility Sports. Today, we're going to be taking a look at next season for the NFL already. Obviously, the Super Bowl just finished on Sunday. We now know that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did win Super Bowl 55. Awesome experience. It was a really good game. Obviously, a little less competitive than maybe we had expected here on the channel, but the Buccaneers did walk away with it. That was our prediction here on the channel. And now we're going to be taking a look at next year. Who maybe could win Super Bowl 56, who our favorites are, who we think is not going to be so hot, earning themselves top 5 picks, and everything in between. That's what we're covering today. And note, I am going to be making a few projections based on what they have in the draft, what they could look after in free agency, kind of predicting what we're going to be seeing for the 2021-2022 NFL season. So if this is something you guys are interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you smash the like button. And now let's jump into it right here. And let's start with the Super Bowl favorite here. What team is the Super Bowl favorite to me for the next Super Bowl? And that is, in fact, the Kansas City Chiefs are my Super Bowl favorite next season. I know they didn't look great against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. However, they have the best roster on paper, in my opinion. Patrick Mahomes, if that offensive line is healthy, they're going to protect him. They're going to do great things. Mahomes made a lot of plays that game as well. Obviously didn't get the win, but he looked very good even in the loss. I know he got pressured so many times. Lowest completion rates, not scoring a touchdown. I understand that. But the eye test doesn't lie. The box score, sure, it suggests he didn't play well. But there were plenty of times where he made plays with his legs and kept plays alive, leading to opportunities, drop balls back in the secondary that could have been completed. The one that hit Tyreek Hill in the face mask, that one should have been a catch. Also, the one that was dropped when Tyreek Hill was falling to his right to the ground through its sidearms, that ball should have been completed as well. And there was a few others in that game. So I think it's just fair to say that Kansas City should be the Super Bowl favorite going into next season. Now, who are some other true contenders? Here, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come again. I think Mike Evans is going to take a pay cut, maybe open the door to Chris Godwin coming back. I don't see Ndamukong Suh coming back. So I think that draft day, they're going to maybe look at a guy like Christian Barmore at the end of the first round. We'll kind of see which way they truly do go there. But the Buccaneers are going to be a contender yet again. What is another team that's going to be a true contender here? And that is the Green Bay Packers. They are another true contender. Aaron Rodgers, as long as he's there, they're going to be a very good team. LaFleur, obviously a very good head coach. Devontae Adams has emerged as one of the top 3 wide receivers in the NFL, arguably number 1. You could make a real case for that with the season he just had. That defense is strong. They need to address a number 2 corner. I think that's what they're going to do on draft night, though, day 1. And we're going to see the Green Bay Packers back in the conference championship game more than likely. Who else are some true contenders here? I think that I'd be remiss if I didn't say the Buffalo Bills are a true contender out of the AFC. They are a very, very good team, and I would be surprised if they don't go far again next season. And one other team that I think is a true contender, not the New Orleans Saints. Let's find one more on this list here out of the remaining teams available. I don't think the Browns are necessarily a true contender here at this point. I think that there's a few teams here that can make that jump. Seattle being one of them for me. However, there are some rumors about Russell Wilson at this point. In fact, I don't think I'm going to put another true contender. I could see it very likely that these teams are the 4 teams in the conference championship game yet again next season. Some playoff teams. The Seattle Seahawks are a surefire playoff team. I also believe that the Tennessee Titans are a surefire playoff team. I look at the San Francisco 49ers as a playoff team. Let's also see here who else we could maybe put into this. The Cardinals, they're one that I'm really 50-50 on. I think the Miami Dolphins are for sure a playoff team in the AFC. Let's look also here. We're going to have to look at one of these NFC East teams. I'm going to save that for last, though. I think the Colts, I'm going to wait on the Colts, actually. They do not have a quarterback yet. I don't know where they're going to get that QB. I think the Chargers are going to be in the mediocre tier. I think that they're going to get a couple nice players back. Austin Eckler being one of them. Hopefully he's healthy all year long. Justin Herbert's going to play well again. They need to get another tackle in there. The Chargers are going to take a step forward, but I still see them at mediocre. I think the Raiders are going to be mediocre. in terms of, they're going to be like an 8-8 team. That's right around average. That's pretty good. Not enough to get into the playoffs, though. Let's see. The Cleveland Browns, I'm going to put as a playoff team at this point. I believe in them. I'm not sure if Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be back. I don't know if that ultimately even really matters there. Cleveland's strength comes on the run game and then the play action game off of that offensively. Baker Mayfield, an accurate QB. I think that they have enough to make it to the playoffs yet again. I look at the Minnesota Vikings as a playoff team in the NFC. I think that they will certainly make the playoffs. I look at the Chicago Bears as a mediocre team. Too many questions on that offensive line, too many questions at the QB position, and Allen Robinson is a free agent. I just don't see them being very likely back into the playoffs. The Jacksonville Jaguars, a mediocre team for me, and this is why. I know this might sound surprising to you guys. They earned the number 1 pick this year. They were terrible. 1, Josh Allen should be healthy this next season. He is their best defensive player. That is a really big deal already. Miles Jack played well. They're moving to a 3-4. This will help Schobert a lot in the middle of that defense. Kayvon Chason started to come on near the end of the year. One of their better defensive players as well, CJ Henderson, struggled as a rookie, but that's something we've seen historically with cornerbacks. Cornerbacks really start to turn it on years 2 and 3 of their career. Same thing with Jair Alexander. Year 1 was solid. Year 2 and 3, he turned into a superstar cornerback. Not that CJ Henderson's going to be Jair Alexander, but expect him to take a big step forward at that cornerback position. They have the number 1 overall pick. That will be Trevor Lawrence. They've got another first-round pick. They've got 2 second-round picks. They've got 2 third-round picks. They've got tons of assets here in this draft. They're going to make the most of this year, and they're going to turn themselves into a mediocre team after year 1 of Trevor Lawrence. Another team that I think will be a mediocre team here. I don't know what to think about the New Orleans Saints yet. I'm going to say it, New Orleans Saints in the mediocre tier. I know that sounds surprising. Drew Brees doesn't sound like he's going to be back, but it's more than that. Their salary cap situation is a big mess. It's very likely that they have to restructure with a majority of guys or buy some guys out of their contracts or just outright release them. This is going to be a mess in New Orleans, potentially. It's very likely that they have to move on from some really talented players this offseason because of big contracts that they gave to guys like Alvin Kamara. Expect the New Orleans Saints to take a step back this next season. Also looking at teams that are going to be a playoff team, that'll be the Baltimore Ravens yet again. They are a very, very good team, very well-rounded. Here now at this point, we've got 4 teams from the AFC and then 5 and 6. So one more AFC team can make the playoffs. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams from the NFC. So 2 more NFC teams can make the playoffs as well. One of those will be from the NFC East. I'm undecided yet on that, which team it will be. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are the final playoff team here. Again, the AFC North now has 3 playoff teams yet again. Cardinals, just on the outside looking in, I think there's a few too many question marks about that defense, where they can get it done. I'm just not sold that they will figure it out. This also leaves the Indianapolis Colts on the outside looking in of the AFC, and just by a slim margin. They're a very good team. Their roster is very well built out, but I just don't know who's going to be that quarterback there in Indianapolis. If it's Carson Wentz, he's been so up and down. I don't know if I'm willing to buy stock on that. I do think Indy's the best location for him, but I don't know if that really turns them into a surefire playoff team, especially when we look at how good some of these teams like the Titans, the Browns, the Ravens, the Steelers are. It's hard to sell me on that. Also, the Miami Dolphins have pick 3. They've got pick 18. They're moving in the right direction as well. Tua Tagovailoa is going to take a step forward next season. I just don't see the Colts really elevating themselves over some of those teams. I think it's going to be the Washington football team, rather, that makes the playoffs out of the NFC East. I have given myself enough time to think on that. That is my team. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 6 teams now in the NFC, and we need one more for team number 7. Not the Atlanta Falcons. That'll be the Los Angeles Rams. Now we have 3 teams from the NFC West making the playoffs, that being the Seattle Seahawks, San Francisco 49ers, and the Los Angeles Rams. This is probably the best division in football. When we really looked at the Cardinals, there are a team that's a near playoff team as well. I have the Rams just slightly out edging them. Matthew Stafford obviously coming in makes them a little bit better of a team overall. I look at now some teams that are going to be mediocre. The New England Patriots are going to be mediocre. Bill Belichick's going to keep that team competitive, but they're very close to being a top 8, top 9 pick, in my opinion. Not necessarily top 5, though. One team that is for sure going to stay top 5, New York Jets out of the AFC East. My New York Jets. They're going to be a top 5 pick yet again. I don't know what they're going to do at QB. It could be Justin Fields. It could be Zach Wilson. It could be Sam Darnold. If it's not Deshaun Watson, we're going to have a top 5 pick. That's just my opinion of it. The Houston Texans, rather, another team with the top 5 pick. If they trade Deshaun Watson, it's very likely they earn themselves the first overall pick. If they hold on to Deshaun Watson, they will still have a top 5 pick, in my opinion. They just don't have a lot around him. They don't have assets this year to build that team up. Big question mark with Will Fuller. Will he be back? Will he not? I really don't know at this point, but the Houston Texans are a team that is trending downward. They're going to have to make a move at that QB position. Probably Deshaun Watson will not want to spend the next few years of his career there in Houston. Other teams that are going to be likely top 5 picks. This is where it really gets hard. These two are the easy top 5 picks to me. I think the Detroit Lions are going to be a top 5 pick in next year's NFL draft. And my reasoning for that is you just downgraded from Matthew Stafford to Jared Goff. Now, I think that's a good trade for them long term. I'm not dissing that trade, but it is a downgrade for this next season. Also, I don't know who's going to be at wide receiver. Marvin Jones, probably going to not be a Detroit Lion. Kenny Golladay, very possible he's not a Detroit Lion. In those cases, you've got Jared Goff throwing to who? Maybe a rookie wideout, maybe Jalen Waddle. But again, I don't know if that's enough to get you out of the cellar here in the NFC North. That's a very strong division as well. Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, and the Chicago Bears are all better than the Detroit Lions at this point. That's just how I see it. I'm sorry if that ruffles some feathers here, but that's just how the truth is at this point. I also look at the Cincinnati Bengals as a mediocre team. They have the 5th pick in this year's draft. They're going to probably be around pick 7 to 14 in my estimation, probably closer to that 11-10 range. But that's a big upgrade from where they are this year. Remember, they almost had the 3rd overall pick. They'll get Joe Burrow back healthy during next season. Probably going to grab a tackle or a wide receiver. Both are big positional needs for the Bengals, and they're going to improve a lot during the draft this offseason. Also, they're going to have a little bit of money to spend in free agency if they do want to do that. Now, we need 2 more teams for the top 5 picks, and then the rest of these teams are going to go into mediocre here. So, which of these teams do I feel the least confident about? One of them is for sure the Atlanta Falcons. I don't feel confident. Julio Jones is aging. Matt Ryan, he's aging. Arthur Smith, their new head coach, they have a lot to turn around there. I just don't know if they necessarily get it done. I think if they see, it's very possible that they could earn pick 6 or 7. I don't love this, but I think they're one of the most likely, and I think the other one is the Denver Broncos, to be completely honest. I think the Giants are going to be a mediocre team. I for sure know the Panthers are going to be a mediocre team. The Cowboys are going to be at least mediocre, and the Eagles are going to be mediocre as well. I feel very confident in those picks. Now, remember, it's not like I think the Chargers are better than the Raiders and the Raiders are better than the Bears. This grouping is not in an order. This is just how I'm feeling about the general idea of this at this point. But I do feel very confident here that the top 5 picks are going to be the New York Jets, the Detroit Lions, the Houston Texans, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Denver Broncos. My reasoning behind this, Justin Simmons is a free agent. Broncos have a question at QB. They need to improve that secondary. I just don't really know how they get better this offseason. They spent money on Melvin Gordon last year. Didn't really pay off for them too much. I just don't know if the Broncos really have a route to greatly improving, and they're in a tough division here with the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Las Vegas Raiders. That does not bode well for their record. The Atlanta Falcons, again, in a very tough division there, dealing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You've also got the Carolina Panthers, who are on the up and up, and you've got the New Orleans Saints, who I know they're going to be trending downward a little bit, but they're still a quality team. They're going to be better than the Atlanta Falcons. The Houston Texans, again, that division is very tough. You've got the Titans, the Colts, and even the Jaguars now are taking steps forward, in my opinion. I think the Texans are going to be in the cellar in that division this year. Detroit Lions, very tough division, NFC North, we already talked about. And the New York Jets, they just don't have a structure in place yet to really improve themselves out of the top 5 selections, in my opinion. Yes, we have a lot of assets. We're going to be able to make quite a few picks on draft night, 2 first-rounders, a second rounder, a couple third rounders, and so on. But there's so much that we need to improve at. We really need to improve across the offensive line. Quarterback position is a big question mark for me. And if we do make a trade for Deshaun Watson, that deal is a long-term rebuild around Watson, which I'm in love with. I really would love to do that. However, I don't think that it necessarily changes next year as much. I don't think that turns us into a playoff team or anything like that. And it would depend on what the package is for him. Hearing that the Eagles want at least a first rounder and more for Carson Wentz makes me think that a package for Deshaun Watson is going to be ridiculously high, understandably, because he's a great player. So that's going to be kind of my list here. Chiefs at the favorite, top 5 picks down here, everything else in between. Let me know in the comments below who you think the Super Bowl favorite will be. And also let me know if you think that there's any alterations to my list that you guys would make. I definitely love to hear it. We appreciate you guys so much. Hit that subscribe button if you are new, and we'll catch you in the next video.